Okay, everyone, I am Neil Milton. I'm the General Manager of ChildSafe, and we are here with a special guest today. Her name is Kayelene Kerr, and she's the founder of ESafe Kids. It's an organisation that educates and equips and empowers children and parents to have those tricky conversations about those tricky topics. Now, Kayelene, today we're going to be talking about public and private places and spaces. What is that all about, and how does that help parents today?
Yeah, Neil, public and private is a topic area in the Protective Behaviours Program. Within public and private, we talk about public and private clothing, public and private body parts, public and private information, public and private behaviours, public and private photos and videos, and public and private places and spaces. Now, sometimes for parents, talking about public and private body parts can be a little bit tricky and challenging, a little bit confronting. So I always say a great place to start is with those conversations that perhaps are a little bit more gentle. So we can explain to our children that there are public places and then there are private places and private spaces. Now, if our children are using a private space or a private place, then when they're using that space, they can expect privacy. What that means is if they're doing a private activity like getting changed, perhaps they're using the toilet, a shower or bath, that when they're in there doing that private activity, that space is private. And if anyone comes into that space, then they're allowed to tell them to go away or that it makes them feel uncomfortable. And if they don't feel comfortable doing that at that time, it's really important that they come and speak with a trusted adult as soon as they possibly can. Within a school environment, probably the only private place or private space will be the toilet area. So we can let our kids know if you're using the toilet area in the school and someone tries to come into that space while you're using it, then you have permission to tell them to go away or to stop. Or if you don't feel comfortable doing that then and there, it's really important that you speak with a trusted adult at school. Now, Neil, the reason I say this is in Queensland at the moment, 92% of institutional child abuse that is occurring, which is child on child, is occurring at a school. Here in Western Australia, when children are sexually abused in institutional settings, about 72% of the time, it is a child sexually abusing another child. So that's a really confronting and overwhelming information for parents to hear. So how do we make that more simple? We just teach our children about public and private spaces and places, and that they can expect privacy when they're using one of those spaces.
That's so important, especially when there's so much topic in the news at the moment, more around adult abusing a child, but
Yeah.
it's so important to talk about that because that's my story as well, that I
Yeah.
was sexually abused by another child.
Yeah.
Why don't you think that is actually talked about?
Okay, so I think that traditionally it hasn't been spoken about at all. It's not nice to think about. I think a lot of people actually just don't know the statistics at the moment. That is definitely changing. I've been involved, a lot of my work is in the area of children displaying harmful sexual behaviours and the ways in which we can minimise and reduce what is currently occurring. I think it's really, really uncomfortable to talk about child abuse in general. And oftentimes when we think about what we've heard or perhaps conversations in our own homes or workplaces, it tends to be the conversation, the dialogue tends to be around adults sexually abusing children. And the reality is somewhere between 30 and 60% of all child sexual abuse now is being committed by children. So we have many children that are displaying harmful sexual behaviours. It's why the language that we use with children is really important. I would never say to a child, if an adult comes into your private space or place when you're using it, or if an adult comes into your personal space when you've asked them not to. It's just if anyone. And the reason is it could be anyone, it could be an adult, but it could also be another child or a young person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thanks so much for sharing that. It's such an important thing. Public and private places and spaces with Kayelene Kerr today. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.